ebesi akwafa etena no pe bebe a wo bia no mesrew so do waso ene wani ebefan me kakra so wotumi hwe a for so fan me so betumi ahwe so a for wani no waso nyina fan me na yeni nkomo kakra ne yemisa ye ho nsam bi enhwe se nsam ne yebisa no wo nyina so ana ensam ye yebisa no sa na tie de pese ye hu no eno mu yedi kire yan ana etena no pay mesropa se segment we ebeye we hia de no wehwe de no watie ne yenso medamase a couple of weeks ago bibisa question bi say adenti na kokobodo eboka esanse menti ase adenti na kokoboda ansa na wono obedi ni dwa no ne de sika ma na dada oba a okodwam niema kokoto no dodo a metoniye ye de hu sika ma no koto beton wat yini nyina enso woboka bibisa sasa no bepem na ye hye nya no mu aye papa bia bisan eka bibi edifa produce buying company abande no PBC se PBC egu adwumayefo aye adwuma awo PBC produce buying company womadwuma essay me kan se wo makatua kora no enkoye ena me no kasai me baby sa question bi na I hope and pray say nipa ye de tumi ama omo no ebenya kokodro aka no kore a kire ganafo me baby sa question bi na no pay me say koko board mpanyifo betumi afri wo makoma mu nyina ahwe nyankopon hata soro yanim aka no kore eda kire ganafo me pacha wo PBC yede wo makokot se wo mo de ka ama mo de nkunim ama se PBC japade nyina no ye beton ana me bisa bio se banks ahodo ani wo mo a ema PBC sika de ye adwuma bebi abesia wo mo koje besia PBC aboka ma se edum pempenso bi a omantumi ntua ana so mutumi ntua ai enti de akokot ema PBC edi nkuguo ama majapade nyina creditors no ade omo sa atoso efa ana eno nti se wo kojo wuru a PBC office kese na e traffic light na se no ya jefi wo nsam se oman ya japade ede ama ankorankora bi ana eye question na mi bi sa na no pay enti koko bodo mpanyimfo mi bi sa bi o say PBC aboka to level bi a ye de asem na kokoto mo ma di fo ama PBC ye nim fie nkola abremu bepem nne no e kwakodi ankorankora bi ho ana asina koko bodo beto koko no wodi kan ekwaje besia e wa manone se koko dodo a ebenya nie nti mo a moto ye koko no mo ma esika ne nkoto ne yemfa mremu aye syndicated loan no sane yefra no syndicated loan afi yakwaje $800 million ene ye de ba o man Ghana mu na ye wo ankorankora bi a womo so womotumi age license o man no amomo license a womoto koko aye licensing buying company for no aye individuals aye Ghana for aye ankorankora enti sa licensing buying company for no womo kwaje besia e wo banks ho as na make say o je besia wo banka interest no aye less than 30%. be a 36, be a 35%. And so no kwaje sa besia no. Na wato cocoa. Na waton e de ama cocoa board. Ogini sika wakutua ne ka kakra beka no o de tua na adwuma efo no ote adwuma no so ono so nya kakra e de abone ho. Woma kwaje besia abeto cocoa e de ama cocoa board ba piem nne cocoa board nti omoka. Aye license buying company no ba piem nne cocoa board nti omoka. Enti bisa na omokwaje wo bank no interest no ewi wo mo wo chesika no ema bank no meanwhile baby a oton niam no e de koton ye no so ye tua ne ka. Enti ade chi ade sane nyina na interest no kwa na ekosoro ebio ne bank ne kan say bosumi miensa ntam metua wo ka ena bosumi nsumnie ye tua ma no. Enti bosumi na ya beka ho nyina no license buying company no koto koko as individual na sa ankwankra no private company no e ka mene no mene o ka say about four license buying companies are ye locally ya ankwankra de ma license so mto koko no about 4 am ye adwuma for so many years no egu Bakubia banansan ya within 2 years wo sika cha obi a onya sika ne wahin ebinum aye adwuma for 30 years ebinum to cocoa ama cocoa board for 30 years aya Ghana for enya nkwankwa bi o enya hoho aya Ghana for na omani ye nyina de enti se wo beto cocoa ne dia ane ye mama ye license se ye nto enti so mama ye license se ye nto a and then na wo encourage me nse me nkura ma me ntumi nya madwuma ma ne nkoso no na me fa Ghana for bebre emfa nka ho na adwuma ne ntre ye nyina cocoa akuafo na ya wofo cocoa akuafo nti ka cocoa asam ye nimu sam kakra sometime back enche bia be ye mfie nson otwe nkron abesi nkoni Yema cocoa farmers bonus. License buying company for you. Sikana ye ready, ubakune sikana da ho twen. Biseni ade bema ono, interest ne kakra bi, enti no ono obebeto cocoa ndi aton ama cocoa bodo no ono wa ho keka bi na ode kwakwaye na dwuma. The spread of 7 years. Sanya many nyina ya wipe ni nyina. It's a license by company for no obajume gu. Hundreds of thousands of people are sa individual buying company see I employ woman nyina ko tena fie. Obajuma say. Aden ye di ye ho abrosa. Aden ye tiri mo den o ye nuanum Ghana for ho sa. People are dying. People are dying. Ebi no manya stroke gudamo. I can't see. Anya ne form so. Odo wo ma man nti. Dem so be to be the abuani. Why ye adwuma for so many years? On hia kwaside bia say that. So why? So why? I don't know yet ye suma to level be say onipa no den na be ye no a en fire me say license by companies 4 1 2 3 4 9 say kasama basa they have been in the system for almost 30 years cocoa board Bonde ben pa na bi maye. Minim say ban ba ye, want to can say industrialization. Say betu man free nyuma tumi agina. Not quite long ago. Na nim say wo mo ye product ahodo bebre de ba. BBC they were working. They were working no mo ye adwuma. All of a sudden bibi ayera prakope. Mesa bi say bi o say PBC, produced by company. Omaja padeɛ no, ye Jeff your musemu ana. Na ye din. Say the mampani call parliament or say ye mie ni no ye na ni sei no. Ye so ye be ye ni sei. Na ya hwe say industrialization maybe o mampani ni mu hu hwi o. Nipa ye tumi na ma omo say mo hwia mo hwe we so no, wo mo na di yabro no. It's licensed by companies and watch them where baby are you know. Why are we doing this to them? Why? And they say about could be ban and saying about could be there on there or no nonsense person, you know. About pep prime much and the other man. Now that one's na Canada mo person which are the mamo. Na bank be some aquagiano, a kind many woman. Na bank babajo ma japade ni other film some. Is it their force? I am from so say on be some man na. Why? Mo kum the patriotism a ewo Ghana for mu. And it is true. O man ho da obi benyam say me man Ghana nie me beye dwuma de asomoma no, you are killing that kind of patriotism na wo yem no. Mo kuno because of power mo nyanti. Enti me say be say bio PBC produced by company. Wo mo de ka ma say no, wo asset ni agye afi o nsam ana. Ye twan Samusam kan no kra no kro ti say nyinsan wo ye dan ebepie anye say bia okopon say bia ebre no nso na ano kra no wonyem a wo so wanimu yesterday bia ma no ebeka ma wahu wo sesa enti sa wo so wonyem a okwa no akofe no abada yate hwe wonyem da bi ma me nyim o wanimu asesa ma da bi me nyim o wafu ba ma me nyim o ebedu bebe bo so me nkoro no efunu be kase ma me nyim o obewo na wo so akase wonyim ena no pe na me be na be tie sister station bi Domi market me wira hu na no pe me wira hu na no pe me wira hu ena no pe papa Ghana ya bro ebinum What's your adwadifo no nsam mo kan e mo bose e bi school how many weeks ni dwadi ni ote Domi market edu ja kakra for all you know no oni kuno so okunu pa e bi ne kunu adwuma incident oba ne be support ni kunu mutu o mafiri ho some part of it aton mutu o mafiri ho ebra na ho ya teche pa se bi nkrofo jom na gu ho asai no emeyi di mun kakra eme ho na koye comment no enne ye de to me eje from nsam nipa na de to me ma wo no aye de ne tax tua wo kan no ono na wo je to me na no aduane wo je fi nsam ye di bro nya how many weeks ni enkwada ko school how many weeks ni eti batan ye ono no eti market wo di dwa no ha ye pamu no onko he Wa won create employment bia oba bia ma obia. Wa won create employment oba bia ma obia sesame we free ha no so betuma nya bi wa ha. Wo se onko he. Se patano po na enye na mbesi dwa no foforo. You sit down with them. Wo no omudi nkomo. Se de pese ye no. Enti no ye be ni face by face. Enti mo amwa ha no mo shifting kwa kakra bia we shift kakra na we nsomra se na be betumi nya 2 dia kan wa ha na e4 na munyina matena sa to adwene na ntia sia ye adwuma wanya ne sa when a few people be back okasa na wa betu adwadefo nyina fi market for what reason dentira ada wiase ya wo dia eti pains and crofo don't you feel it a bit muhu say ni pain huna man muhu ene sikasa munyu eme ya kopa besia kakra na mudi didwa enti so so nkoti na fi tomatoes no obe ne den obede no wachi aneka obede akohwe ne ba o school why hwe me can see me no pen ma sorry ofu say when you to me ofu say when you sika Nti do tumi no ebe suppress de oma utumi no ebre bi beso nipa na utumi na wanya na usika na wanya wo suppress no obe kenya ne ho da ho na bo so usika na utumi no yesi so ta ohufo a woni mani ebre bi beso obe hunahuna na da koro pe obe ka say no ho na obe hu etie koso yenye ni say ya yemfa ne mansie eye a yanka say bi yanka kata so saa na ebre bi beso a entoma ne ye de kata ade no so no eso beto ba na pro ye de hye entoma na se no ye be hu ni nyina. Good morning. Ye twen ho aba na se ye ba ye be di nkomo eno ye de education minister kasaye review about senior high school samsami o kire na adwene kasama do bebre na wo ka bibi de fa kane mampani mahama ho se kane mampani mahama se oba free senior high school no obegu no enti ye betie afanu ni nyina se de wo mo eka wo masam faaye review ni ye guo ana se nye guo ye be di hu nkomo na fa ya hwe IGP committee of parliament te ye se wo mo hwe na police fo bi nsam eso e be ba ye no report bi leaky na report na e ba ye no chairman ni say report no enye no ye no kra na ye bi afirimu ene de tete sa ba committee members ni bi so akasa de afa ho say committee no adwuma omo ye no ade e betu asisu di akasa enkrata na ba bontene sa pepepe na tie enti e bi di hu nkomo ene committee fo no be di nkomo na ye bisa omo na ahwe de ewu bankasa pa eno achi woda se edum kane na ya na miam edundundundu no ehun sam te sai edum so de ewura mu ya na IPPC no independent power producers no e ka de omo ne yatua West African Gas Pipeline for na say company for no ye de omo ka yatumi atua ye de omo ka san na yatua ensam no doso ebedwafo aba enche ye bedi nkomo ti do mo ntwen ye nto nkra ye ba ye beto ye nkomo twetwe no so ye ba isi Every additional madam was say ye cotton crano, mo train na yaba, nti yabe ye be shase ne yedi nkoma anisa. Ena no pe bedwafo a edi kan be kamensa e wo fie ha. Ama ye be hye nkoma hwehwe na ase no. Be Dr. Adam Bona ye kan bambo mu nsem a wa bin wo mu ye papa pa ono timi ni faso yi. Doc akwaba. Mo official panso. Me dance papa. Afe ye papa ba kwa metumi aka se wa boy odwumadi mu pa na o se hweche mu kro betena na waba na waba be boa asoman no His Excellency Sam Piale wono NDC Professional Forum no ono ne pani a oda wo ma no yewura ye mu akwaba
mejodo
ye da wase pan so no wo mre ye da se papa mo official pan so ene sa fi we na ho de foforo beba be ka ho na yetumi aye adwuma no
oh chama catch that film with the future mu krama ba
that's dodo and I know I say ewo sabo a odi ahye enu ye hwe kwan se ye nua Benjamin Sian be kan ho na fe MPP na musini a wono sese so oba no wono so be kan ba for now de mpefo mi ni na yesa kan mo ewo fie ha na ene be hya se e de afi humasua ho nsɛmsɛm ho samba kai a kane mampani John Dramani Mahama Kasemi efa Frisina High School ye ho na sɛ mo kan ne sɛ opɛ so wo hwe kwan se ebe yi a anka ye review program no said ya beya baby ato sini no na yetumi ahwe na yesiesie no sense nipa bra bompo wa wotena se bu nkompo hwe wachi se me obra me bue no me komanim anase me sam echa na me gina bibia me gina nsakra bi na ese me ya matumi aye ebro kan sa asem no e ka me se emu nchirechire mu ne ntiasie bi ne ne mahodo bi akwakoba mu ebi no keka se mampani na asema dada mampani dada Mahama asema kan se sa ne review no che se wo betwam ye man peni na na dan kwakufu adokra e kan bi na enura so afọ hwe o masua nsam so onyanfo ya adutwum mene no edi nkomo ewo adekyensoroma so enura anopa ewo saasam kuro ya ho na yedi nkomo kakra no ne nsam okan no moma yetie wi a man pedada Mahama so na nsam okan ye efa review ana wo kan wasam no eno so yetie timu ye ni kan ne yetie onyanfo ya adutwum oye so afọ a ohwe ho masua ho nsam so
Minya, the man is slow crass every TV and not again will be chairman. Since I did that, but no so was there 419. Then this is for Trunium, Free Senior High School, 419. Any panel, I didn't I know on Tiasley. A bad day, and also the same one, Ghana Phone School. Ghana Phone School, President Mahama, or can Free Senior High School review of the chairman? Free Senior High School na mo mano nana mwenya wo nkrase da bi fie bi o ha no bia anko school da ene bi akọ se otibia ye na se no o ka se obesisem am so obesisem bi mfuntu aba se nkoti ase se bro focasa akodru ba bi a 73% na pass no ka so okay me yan hihye fufu ebedru 90% a na mama koma to meyam na ba bi ejina de hot so papa President Mahama ba obetwam fi se won ti ase so ba ye no fan so han na ye no say enkura ma bo mo de na hu se Free Senior High School na ha no ekoyie aha ekoyie enu nti na enkura abo mo de sei edime ba me ye bia ka ho amemfuntuo kese abade a na me hu se review na o kan ya de pass abre de on ti ase entu jama no obesem Bogana for bro papa
yeah bro focus review you can review wadaroma munti ase wo mu ene de wo hen se ye review bibia
me pese mu musa no man
me pese wo
Mahama man say review no dey no pese wo ye don kan kire Ghana for
me pese
o ti asmo ka no say oba obefre Ghana for bi so madwe wo be do man pani say yen won review no o tell me review no de obeya e na no so me tell madwe
ti honorable wo se wo nti ase wo on review no so betwam sa na wo ka e na me bi sasa wo nti ase mu no review no e kire sen
When she has a average of 69.73, as some equal 80%. If you acquire many headmasters for the age, so say make us a entity from National Education Leadership Institute, headmasters in school. Yes, that's a woman. A quamfo from the first one, or main being young woman faso. And no, and I am in here, so say, we could do 69.73, faco 80%. Ghana for other Roma. Oma ya kwenya. Let 2024. Omi emba biemu a. Ye be ye jumaden akadi aye no.
We review now kan wasam so we review amana kwere nti me bi say the current state of senior high school no bibia no ebetumi aye mana aye yema kwara no atu here for instance wada roma me pacho for instance me bisase na betumi akire mu ye ye ka bibi say infrastructure dabre ene nyama hodo bi ye nyina ya wofo ye ma osukuu mu ebi wo ho a dabre ho asam eden ebi wo ho a nkwada didie mu so eno so bibi sa wo ho nyama hodo kakren kete bi wo ho a ekoso school so hodo no mu a edu ba bi a anka yetumi hwe eyensakramu kakra bi anka bi ebetumi aboa ena me bisa se saa niema no okwan bi eno ebetumi akase bi ebetumi afaso ne aye ne asiesie ne ani yie ebetumi akase be review no se bi parents be take half ofan bi na oman no so afọ ofan bi ni nyina so nya bibi ebetumi aboma anka awie pay your prekope
when awofo bre ewo man omo atro ene e de titire oman no omo tro ene e de titire oman obi atua ne tax ewie wo be ma no wo masu emu odu a economy no aseme ne ka tire omo me de nim ne say sabra no wo ka say yes science lab e wo schools bebre oko kuma se America be hu science lab for Wesley girls be hu science lab okuapema be hu science lab ho ye hye adwuma no mu ye sapo mu nsuo ma adwuma na ye kama nkwala abom ho modern eno na sase ye eno ena sase ye obi ani ho a wonya no ho bebre sa wo mo ani tua tax no o tua ne tax ye no de ma na de ye adwuma ye na wonya ho mfaso emfaso mu nya no se ye schools for Sabra no kata junior high school wo hwe adwuma ye o ha ye school takesie junior high schools a science lab biology chemistry physics lab dia one e be page junior high school ama ya kono ama wo ba so person ko school adem be ko public school fi so ko is legal ko seek up who public school aye sie na wo tua to organa wa koma to yem say wo to wo tua ye de aye adwuma mu odu ama won so ba letimi akọ public school wontu ahwe from kindergarten to high school is legon and then is your private schools e wo gana kakre bi ja ta da ni eno eni ade a ye de ye nwumesuo enye se ni pia de ama wo fo bi mbe bi de ama ona wo fo no to motu om de ama wo aban fire ma mo omo
honorable me your wo fo we ayenra anopa adechensroma dwumedie so ena mene onunyamfo ya wadutwum atwetwe nkomo edefa review amapene dada mahama eka ho asem no na nti ase amapene dada mahama asem okan fa review no kire se wobegu no de dan ma na wobegu ne sansa wonti ase in December 5th 2020 on December 5th 2020 yenya kwan ene kane mapene John Dramani Mahama edi nkomo na sa review samono ekokoba emu am ye bisa ne se yewura review na wo ka no yesi wo betwam enti wadwen e wo free senior high ho de di kan yesan se wotio ne nyamfo adutwum se Mapani Mahama free senior to no onya de wo pe wadwen e wo ho ene de wo he afa review na ka no wo pa kire sen yenti anu yi a wo de ma ye afa education ye wo education wo se wi de ye fa no nwura mu ne ehwe
okoton ebia factory eto otu ne banchi na factory bi ato ana otwa ne bro na obi ato what I say into onye sika the next year obeka say oh me farm no eswampo ma me ye bi nka ho what I say na okasa obe ye bi aka ho a obe hia more labor more hands nti emma ejuma ba in the system and no yes sustainable jobs enye nya eya youth employment napco ne nasefo
no ebritia bi de yo sala se be yamna ye nsama hodo bi akokoso a afa education ye education musem wi de ye fa no nwura mu ne ehwe it's about free senior high yes wo ba wo so be gunu
gabe na mkasa
yes wo ba free senior high be gunu campaign ahodo ekọ nyina ache se His Excellency John Dramani Mahama says so oba obegu free senior high kura e de free ho o kan say na wo pa kira afa free senior high
kwada unim say na politics ite mi ankasa minim say unim say e politics na nipa de ya me kan say sembe ma pinya free senior high the challenges home, especially double track assembly. And we share even eduania and kwadani the system of feeding problems home. So headmasters no ne educationists background na aban eyomodi and I say a transfer into nipa ntimi nkasa. Into with all the challenges no ye recently assessment by saying your free senior high you're the most expensive in the world. I just say you say sika also in terms of waste. And kedetimi in a way kedetimi improve the quality of the free senior high. What you say? And to make us say yeba free awofo no, nya free teacher for, nya free educationists, and they obia nya betrans nya free implementation no. Say na AC call. Say na beya yebetimi amana aye better. And to me say we'll call a stakeholders conference to review the implementation so far. Say na beya we can make it better. Now review na me kind no. Share dictionary meaning of review. A formal assessment of something with the intention of instituting change if necessary. Into here assessment of implementation. And then I to sing a womb. Send a bear, you bet me ateneno na etimi papa. They can't review we and MPP for afa say abolish na lawyer kukudam to say omampeni akufado. Or say on the entire say about review and say ube ye free home. It just shows a lack of credibility, a lack of sincerity. What do you say? Because you say it's a chrome question. What you say? Nancy Nini Obaku for team. She get fund like the buy. We need to get fund fee. Abrap Spiogabra, Minister of Education, offer a conference on funding education in Ghana. Our for buying, teacher for buying. National Union of Ghana Students, TUC, OBIA, a big conference, International Conference Center. Sam Menonami, Minister of Communications, in the make a conference, maybe. Yes, our conference, no, and you say, oh, I didn't talk 10% and talk. Bibia Obia Betobia, Yamfan go get fund, money Yamfan to Yamfan finance education. Me say, Anka get fund and man, Anka Bibia, ye additional edruno, Anka do baby away. Because we share almost all the infrastructure about your schools from university right down, and you get fund sika and the idea. Into a conference and they get fund idea by. Into a case Obiama awofo they are not happy with this double track. Into a case awofo teacher formula, education simbra, TUC formula, National Union of Ghana Students formula. SHS so far you are implementing muhu the same. Obian for na dream na send ebetimi aye amana ye better asami amika yi ni na yanom edenam osi oba obetwam one ebetimi twam our constitution mo the constitution say the state shall make secondary education progressively free. It is a shall say aban be na ebetimi abaka say baby against the constitution ye tia sign FQ ba ya implementing aban bi betimi abe cancel FQ. FQ be free rollings abreso and a back of abreso. Kufo na implement here. Aban for betimi aba say FQ no ye free ho. It's not possible. And so ye cheap politics in tea. Omodenam. Oh, mama ba obey free SHS free ho. Ye may ye free ho and a double track no. Because no formula meet me double track no.
And then the
schools na yes no. Ye who say start free SHS na. Schools na ewo hono omuni enough facilities say ombe absorb enkwada no enti na meka say ye be e-blocks I be see 200 of them e bia ye see ye no anka double track no be
when so asama ma penin dada His Excellency John Dramani Mahama e kan nko twetwe December that also num mfimpi no ene aduonu 5th December 2020 and as uncle Twitwe a course on fear bay macomacon a cobay and 9 temunie and fancy miensa in fear miensanie and as uncle Twitwe a course and see na no. Na another pay somebody can candy and comodino ever for Sassamy who near say free senior high no and the yebetram ye obetram won't I may say kakum edikokunum and to Rankasa actually say review no than no patchery ene ebinom so nte ase ewo ho eno ene asema na bi di nkomando pe na afia hwe de keka ka ho nyina se medikan aboso de akire mafa IGP committee ni samsam ena fe no achi nso nyina mahode ho nsam so no ye behwe kwanse ne onunyafo mesa bi di nkomo na fe wono nso de woka ade ne de nyina mahode bibi ekono yatumi ahwe na ye de nkomo Benjamin Sian so abeka ye ho ye ka obi a waben ewo fa ngo nsamsemu ene bambo na nyina mahode nsemu a ena fish kasemu nso a waben papa ben akwaba
Jacob
na mo official panso
finkonversayo
ye da sipa so no obre ye da sipa ewie Your Excellency, I need my mission and free so.
That's against tradition.
So Ben day, as I need my mission and free so. I'm a free senior high school some year by ye. Yet in some prior to the 2020 election. Emma ubitwam say obey review ubitwam ubitwam enra ye education minister di nkomo Emma all kan say pe ma pani mahama onti free senior high nase into oba ubetwam 3 years ago nkomo and this anchichiri mu abai say enya de obetumi atwam apa mamiti wonu ye wasasemi
yo Jacob na
Excellency
mo official paso
afin nkomo to afin so
ma mo ofase official pa na bada official pa Jacob na so topic here that be me discuss no kwanye nyame enyim so nyawo na edibeya Chambakede or an agenda to divert. In Chambakede or she should be a confine ye there. Ye had been in fee or how a gun of full woman. So now when Najibaya send them be Judintra. Chambakede how a man the pensioners when you second children. How a man there Ghana, the whole of Africa. Ye Kiprim, the whole of Africa. Kamakada or diversion. But oya winti makamam yin won.
Bidasi.
Chidama o mampeyin jo mahama ken. Second can article 25(1)b. Our constitution nimu pinchim there. Secondary education in all its different forms, including technical and vocational education. On your senior high school, technical and vocation shall be generally available. So there, aban OCC secondary school, no OCC vocational schools. Na technical schools because availability there not the schools no and and shall be made generally available to all by every appropriate means and in particular by progressive introduction of free education. Chief Adams, that is the constitutional obligation on every government of Ghana. There, Fijikwame Nkrumah Abruda, I hear free education or not. Men they yenya two notness as presidential candidates. A program biala in some years to come, an impact or better than show. Today, the impact of Kwame Nkrumah free education to the northern only the young two notness as presidential candidates. Ayarega Suleba. Now, everywhere the array of ministers, MPs, the conclusion you can only draw there, Nkrumah never dies. Saman Fumay Nkrumah Kwan. Moye mobeya ngana ya troko Adam it was 1957-58 in the year atomic energy Ghana near the first motorway in the year Kosombo say ya no mo Kwame Nkrumah kwana and say ya troko ena 15 September 2015 Omampenyin Mahama say dami asem yo constitution me am ya tena ho achelo nti no me implement nchoko Professor Mills Nukrom of friend e konfi etam say we reporter wo ha friend say sera oba kejina e konfi etam President Mills Senior High School owo post photo abro no or implement free senior high school progressively. Na dey come na so what can progressive lo che there say I didn't two approaches wo din putiprim na mo so mezen moto bara na me yana kakrakra na onam there mo from na wo boko school no sabi wonyam preko wonyam bo dominant say epede implement bibiara obema moframan wanya kwana ko school a ena no obreje there I sure there wo hostels wo ho arambo bia wo classrooms wo ho wo science lab na di nala wo ho tipo man pay na samo kan there wo mayensi yi blocks ede ko na awati at dom bia dom ko benya ati
maybe I'm a tear.
Who come tell you one? Free senior e block na be ho.
What the
Ebi ho?
Obi ochebi. Debi. Abu school wo ho. And I was keep sector kenso.
Chawsa.
And ho no ho de mention.
Be check. Inti omampin na dwen there. Me basic 200 free secondary schools. Which means secondary school be you block be a fresh secondary school. Yes. You block Kubiala or your compact senior school. Comprehensive. It's Miss Ono. Miss Ono, so Major lab back home. Major computer lab back home. A do to me a banal agriculture young Anglican. Ni na mo. Or President Mahama new school. Na. George there, Obram Omampena Kufuado. 2017 no say Omampenyin Mahama wa implement the free senior high school da na mo ba na bado ko City FM City News 6 March 2017 bien comme na afia no yetumbra ni ya kiresu obi amba speculative submission bia na wa ha na Fufiantu ata na Kwekwa Dubai. Nti Kwekwa Dubai na free senior high school ni ya start. No, I say on a day he wouldn't adopt the progressive approach. On the intent everybody should go to school free. Na mbiri ni mun any yensi school then afufuro. Classrooms ni expand you. Dormitories near expand you. Dining hall facilities near expand. Na some from no onkogum. Na Ghana bibiara dey politics. Yes na. Hey Mahama Sobogu Mahama Akufo the free SHS abo nyafo ko school na musum baba college o. Eta come na. So we lost the crux of the argument. In any case, Akufo the new free SHS no the ban. Or implementing the same year. Adams. Implementing in the same year. Eta come na did he
started it
from
a particular period, not Nyobia and
yes. I started from third year, not by second year, not by first year, and on your progressive bia. Come on your progressive bia. And you know, we'll be so bad and progressive. In 3 years, no, or so our Benma, and check the rate of this senior high school U blocks now. And you see, do na low. Na ben na di macho as a bayane intentam na la. This is saying then. You know, security for what you BB. Because every action has its own reaction. say if you are going to implement free senior high school ma emia miti he meba Adam neba awu kwabna wa ko free senior high school free ya eno kire de esi dan a obotu accommodate my from any nyina. This is when you then double track. This is when you there. Eja kobna edane na mo hwe TV wo program bi na e kire ezibana mo from man worizi. This is when you be there. Eba kwa na mo from man wo di ezibana so in chance no one chance but that's all line go no. This is when all of this we have gone through, we have seen it. This is when you need me there. Eja kobna teacher fu where you wanna do. Teacher for what transfer one, teacher for what victimize one, or you're 52, almost 52. On free SHS implementation into Ashanti Regional Minister, and I want your crew to play that video. My brother Akamba, Joshua Akamba, was traveling. No, my friend, ohun wo de ojiro what the one chance here so line no crawl now from an year complain man that is why we have to review the free SHS on free SHS inti Ashanti Regional Minister obo sebi not as obo one of the purport and somehow ofin number no so your money bia into papa to the prison the regional minister to the prison. On free SHS implementation, our share more often a seven, you're not in this with not reba. What seven? Did we go one and sana? Seven. And they're not named like why in the flag barrier. Nah, from your challenges, man. Ufuriata, what are Ufuriata Kufudofi? I say, I say, I'm not from back. Can you not motor school? No, there, then it's not equitable. Yen in that first, free SHS, and ya I could find another bay. Yen in there, free SHS, or the problems are back. Yen in there, free SHS, no from when did ye? Yen there says a common po of school or Dawson. You see, young cat. Na Mahama get there. Free SHS the way we're implementing it. Remember, may stakeholders engagement. Na ye review. Chief Adams, if you want to implement a security program in a community, don't you do stakeholders engagement?
You do.
Educhum na MPP funa waka sebebrebe. Jama wonye stakeholder engagement na Ghana wa say ni no. But in any program biara first and foremost, even in finance, stakeholders engagement is key priority. Adamwa. Now men can show stakeholders engagement name for 1992 constitution here. Last year, 31 years. It's said to be the longest existing constitution in Ghana. Because, in spite of its challenges, everybody sees himself in the constitution. Market women can obey, teachers can obey, lawyer for no wamba. But Obiala who stakeholder the constitution you control in them. Continue. Money by and a Mahama aya. What's there? Sameba Moshe there. Mefra wofu. Because Chief who's going to PTA. Look, just go back, stand in the mirror, review PTA contribution to the development of your school. Come now, review your friend then. All student association, their contribution to development in schools. On my opinion assembly, I would take the consultative assembly approach teacher for one bra mo ha den ayi awofo mo bra mo ha den finance fo mo so mo ha den na ya hye ne ye ma from man wenya fatmepa oni na edujum oya mahamai edujum no me dey senyimpa eko school ne edrube bia wo ka se na wan so ka se no ko school anam bobia anjase as evangelism can
metwase na ne samo a wo kan ye no se wono so se ne review no no hunu no ohunu ne se ma ye ade no menya 75% ana 65% ana 70% nti me review no mana kɔ nanim
ono edujum enwa edujum or education to that oya cargo driver me the goods na kodu nti me kodu. Education is not only about examination results. Etimasa, education, education is education only about results. Because echo school no kofu binya A. Why are kosamba for nfi? Sabi bi ana uso nye na wona ti. So education cannot be evaluated based on examination results only. If you cast on you man paying that will cast on Sassy. Eligible 419
in the way.
Cha passage of Muhammad's education 419. Engineer Obobuchum. When Muhammad said 419 and Sassy, in the school placement scandal is what your Muhammad wanted to avoid. It was school placement scandal. What did the password? Honorable minister and the password, no idea placement in. Only scandal na Muhammad 419 na Muhammad. 419 na Muhammad. Only there. I think you teachers where she can put a computer down time one. NDC for the we believe in consultative governance. Yaba programming ya oye so dear to teacher fund. So dear to Awofu, so dear to Wafani then Moframan, we will review it in the true context of review. But the man listen.
Okay.
Said, Amana Mukoye interview. Nang Moframan one tramo, change tramo, drug addiction. All of them were saying that I feed Minyan Chamaden Mejay. It means that he had even the tramo addiction has reviewed his life. Any human endeavor when you're reviewed in or your madness. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, you said that say any also so busy kakra na me pese ye tie na adwene kire ewo nkoma ye die no teme man kwan e man kan se de be ya obeka nti radam boda me se ye ka homesuan asem ye nyina fa ye ho enye se we de besem a ye tie ye twen se MPP fo na musini a wo man kasa ye ni se obeba dwumadi ni so no obeka yensa na fe ya to dwumadi ni so nti se ye nya introduce wo man na musini a na je se de se omode ne ba be si o manan no wo mo nya meduru ha nti ye twen se obeba na ya to ekomohwehwe ni so se se no betumi yanhwe sa review cancellation and cancellation na se for no per interview here 3 years ago no say assettle case in once and for all ana
me chair ahwefo happy new year to ahwefo nyina
onyina da se
any HMP some PI mention no nanko pese anope nanko so mention the kunwa no so na se na me se me
ya reservoir man
na me se me no I'm me yes okay so with regards to review you can say go dictionary and I say the meaning of review it tells you it's just a normal assessment bibia yaye na say ya assessment to be assessment review bia no o frɛ omo a omo ya involve ene omo nyina eka ho frɛ omo nyina na wa bi so omo say said the ade ne kɔ no ekoyie enkoyie ubisa omo true betumi ube use there are different methodologies or be used for review. Now nanka do twum de oyobia ne demeanor nanka oye a bit calm nisa but I think say and say some of the things are okay kano some of us are a bit concerned. The reason why I make us say some of us are a bit concerned ni nyina so say obi a wa sua de bia atro thesis kakra no your chapter be a friend literature review your chapter be a friend eno enye de wo watwero de amanfo atro ayaji atumi a publishing this annual no experts na their publications na wakwa akohwe o research na wo ye no nipa we ebia oye bibi efa ho na wahwe say no kan na we so why would ni nyina your chapter bia discuss your friend no you know literature and so for obi a wa sua de sabi PhD then a PhD de we be free one stage to this before we do we kra we call other friend revival na say defense we ba ko gina begina we ase afa na obi a hwe na what defend who thesis and say ampa you know this is the reason why I say PhD no ya de ma say why ne bisa wenu munsan and so he could not have become unless of course on say PA we are kind of saying doctoral ni bi o wa wan nsua de na ya frɛ na yɛsɛ obi a bo homɔden wo bibi mu ni afrɛ ne de ahyew on ha ne de ahyew ebia that is the case but say that the nye eno na say there some of us fair mu to you know 3 years some of us we did it for 5 years na we na say you know you talk this way say review means cancellation you know we begin to ask ourselves questions me say before the implementation of the free senior high school policy no me we can say mo sister station NEAT FM every some of us we on a program and I have always maintained say the free senior high school policy no to a very large extent ubisami America said doesn't make sense. The reason why America said doesn't make sense and say Ghana ha uko enkro enkese like Accra Kumasi Sunyani wa Tamale Boga you can say Cape Coast Takrade ne de keka ho this whole ene de keka ho you notice said there are some schools private schools as schools no empanyimfo no manko na ekosa schools no omonko na ekosa school no say school no obi asabi ne mame tontos wanhwe yo no ntumi nkobi ono ye in public me time me ye wo me na private schools na ba ko bi penetriem and so saito ya na nyina ye call ya na obetro common entrance no atro O level A level no akọ wanim but this they everywhere ebi charge dollars obo is legon ope dollarized schools are called is legon
Roman range
mesu de ekoko ebi je up to $12,000 a term no here 3 months so 3 terms no so oju 12,000 net 36,000 you can for dollars a year na sakra no ewie say school no ewo is legon na obi a akwada no so call me krom school esa dbia be krom school public school saito na o say omunyina atro GSS no ewie omunyina nko ya kan say infantipim anaso omunko St Roses anaso omunkwa ha na omunyina udo omunyina ekoho no bia free. What sense does it make? What we should have done is to look at it and see say free senior high school no would be given to omuye so needy. One say even tax policies were ekroma and equitable. And the reason why I'm paying for no and to me go after you can say the rent you can say tax na dia no it's because enano dodo na omo eso omo de tax no omo de policy ne ba no enano dodo na ayo omo dia o te na make na say And I no do na your mo de akọ cantonment to East Legon na there. So mine is that in case you know in such a way say ebi a teacher ni ne ba akọ public school no call you know from you can say daycare up to junior high school or course I2. You can use that alone as a policy. That alone as a policy. One course I2 unya free senior high school. You see, a man for can say yen to me see public schools were baby. It is true. Yen to me see public schools were baby. But say you implement a policy. I bema omo mutia dollar. Ewo you can say private schools no. Omo betia more at the public senior high schools. Said you see more public schools in areas where we have island communities or Ghana. We build first class schools in these areas. Now education is equitable. But at the moment, now when reviewer, the one who say this is what citizens are saying. And so I have maintained that it doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense because the poor, you go and mix the poor children, obi an ono ne papa sabi oye kuani ni koko odo ye kra bi akoko no ye ntua ne ka odo mu nyina mix na nipa no ne papa betumi afford ama ya brand aduane ewo say school no work on secondary school no every day bi betumi afa cook a high cook no so ontena obe high dan ama no ewo kona mu oba bi say every day me ba we dem aduane ni where ene I have been speaking to some university dons and me kana me buafu because we share even in university system numpo enumpo na enye free no. You realize that it is not equitable. Now questions are maybe say, why is it that a child would finish a certain school or university to say Legon Tech Nedia Kekan? Now school fees are that money so it's the same school fees. And sabi Jedinino, our no necessarily bino, why can't we make education equitable? But you say I think that in the opinion of young policy makers, no, I mean, excuse me to say, in their opinion, and say, yeah, no try equal, and equal, but it's not true. It can never be true because, like I said, the poor child and the rich child who are in the same first class school, ni papa beg to me a high cook. Oh, my team was said, they be out with the come me bano. Now, poor child na mame ewo ebia na vrongo, but the child is ebia in one of the first class schools. But if we do it in such a way, say, we would actually make sure those who attended first class schools omutia commensurate school fees. Also, I will call from class 1 to JSS public school. Also, one would be a free senior high school no sebi. Uhia pa. Na ye the amount. Now you pam uniform amount. Allowance simple, bet you more allowance simple out of it. But most parents are complaining, say, free senior high school no. Say the bani be school after 2 months or say 1 month, no asan be fee. Ye beto we. A policy and you, but you see, the implementation will be samia. I have been asking questions. Why it is like I'm saying, yeah. Ufri ha na se ukọ abrochimemu a yemfa ne se ukọ UK ukọ akusua de a ye will be a friend so we home student also your international student and you international students no utua bebre home students no onu betua ketua bi. Now you ask yourself, say the system we are even implementing does not fish out foreigners in Ghana. System now you implementing free senior high school no, does not fish out foreigners in Ghana. And to say emfa say watro waba ababeko emfa say me more international schools you be edin Some of them do the Cambridge and the other ones together with the GES system. Into work with school, ne papa the number of free. Any of these are neighboring countries. So try $5,000 every 10. Nipa niwe and apply so any of our first class schools. Say free senior high school. Why do they ask you nationality? Say nationality. Maybe. Yeah, nationality.
Even if they ask, it will not be against
because it is not part of the policy to fish out. You can't say foreigners who are here. Of course. Want to me in fact opa all their try. So do oba a free hako UK. So conquer O level, A level, and now university. Now do oba no call you know. Now oba no or kwako tria school fees at memufu no. No, it's not that you pay 3-4 times. Utia 3-4 times, you can't say the cost of what the timemufono because omuna omutia you can't say because you have to you should have been there for a long time, contributed to the whatever there's a criteria. You must qualify to you can't say to be given such a preference. But unfortunately, both the rich and the poor into one basket. And when you put the rich and the poor in one basket, what happens? The poor would always suffer. The poor would always suffer. Ubetini ese akode bienya school no kronye binko. Meboa. Na nsen yesi akode bi preseko sedei. Ne ma me se o manu nko school ni bi o sedei. And I say, obi say di anim. And omuboa and I say, omdena ko school no, presec no. Na ne mame, according to no mame no, enye esum na osum no, ena enunti na na ompese akora no beko school no. But sika woni. You get what I'm trying to say? So we don't have a policy where we are able to identify the poor from the rich. And you say, oh, sika there. Nasa oba pass ya when biaso obeko school. So for me, the free senior high school policy is good, but the implementation doesn't make sense.
Yeah, share where ya samba kwa you be track. Say bibi no be to perfect.
And nothing else on your review no. So we are wrong. Yeah, started. Some of us have been me say I was very critical of it from the beginning. Say, young, let's disaggregate it. There should be, let's segment it into various parts. Okay, I say my big brother, His Excellency Sampiale said it about the finance minister. He made a lot of sense. How can I say no finance minister? Why would you want to put on a finance minister any ABR?
Lakwasela.
Coconut seller. And not that I'm insulting them.
No.
But obi ojina kwa ho sabi, wo born ho modern, udo or no finance minister ba. A person who is struggling probably makes 100 cedis a day. Udo munyina kwa kubum. How is this equitable? When he said it, what happened? Because it is a populist policy. And you see, when you are implementing a populist communist policy, you usually don't think about, that the people are not equal. You think everybody is equal. I would not be taller than you. And now they make I would have been doing the same work as we. But unfortunately, in politics, some of the things in a manner that sometimes doesn't make sense. For me, review means review.
Okay.
Review means that even if the thing is good and you are not reviewing, some of us, I attended Saito Middle School. And you know what happened? My big sister attended the experimental junior high school, Mexico Junior High School.
Experimental school.
The junior high school. We were using that as a platform, and it started long before some of us actually even knew that a day will come when, and that time we cannot JSS now. Now unkonko started secondary school form 1. I'm saying now call form 2 or form 3.
Form 2.
And they were people who were children who were extremely brilliant, who were taken to those
state experimental school.
What's the American say? So there were few they put in various communities, and that was to test and see whether it is good. Eventually, you all one day, and the late President Rawlings, in the time, okay, so we are switching. We are switching. What is that those days? Since we were A level, we started level 200. We call level 200.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are medicine. Now we are no 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And almost the same. Is it not review? It's review. Even you can say the universities who are supposed to be semi-autonomous. Those days, let me say the first batch of SS students. Let me say they did not even take anybody to do medicine in courses. No. I think they didn't take. I don't know whether, but I know some of the universities didn't take that particular cohort. It was subsequently they reviewed. Even that time, no, you after first year, you justify why you should be put in the law to do law, why you should be put to do pharmacy, medicine, and the other courses. But subsequently, through review and review and review, they've been able to fashion it and say they are who SSS now, who apply say course in and person say your foul. You now have to do well to make sure you are maintaining a certain GPA to go up.
Yeah, that's all.
It's all through review. But if you don't undertake review, it doesn't matter how good your policy is. Maybe you force your policy in here. But what they remember, I'll spot loopholes. So for me, I still maintain that the free senior high school policy is good. But the implementation which we are not reviewing, because then if the policy is good and you are still not reviewing, we've done it. I mean, we started in 2000 and what?
15, 17.
No, I mean, during the Nanado's time, it started
2017.
2017. So it's been running for the last 6 years, we say, maybe 6, 7 years. So I think that let's do a comprehensive review of the policy together with even the universities, because the universities have a problem. At the moment, they are doing admissions, no accommodation. They are doing only admission, no accommodation. And they are corona no free. Sebi, a Caribbean sena wa passing as wabano. Only accommodation. So canina or no nebano call. You can say good school kromuno. Or bet me about the high dine. Kromo, amanabano to me university. So what are we doing? So mine is that I was a student leader when the Get Fund thing was put together. Kofi used to be the commander, the operations director of operations. Because eventually, and then we share Get Fund here. That is what is financing education in Ghana. So we are all contributing to education in Ghana. But you see, there are some people who have Sebi, Nyamiadum, Omuwakakra. So we should be able to distinguish between the child whose parents are mob and the child whose parents have been able to provide for them air conditioners in their room. They drive their own cars. How do you put such people together and you expect that in 10, 20 years, such children are going to be at par? I mean, for me, I have maintained, review, because and most teachers, I won't say most teachers, some teachers who are not even sending their children to the public schools. When I was growing up, I sat in class with my teachers' children. Some teachers are not, because they think they don't call private school. I'm not saying the private school system, we should collapse it. But you see, where I grew up those days in Tema Community 2, I think we had just one one private school, one. And if you have to go there, your father should have money. How your father doesn't have money? I used to walk from Tema Community 2 to Community 5. Community 5, you can say number 5 primary. You have to walk from C2 to C5. because that is where the school is. So mine is that we should try and review these policies. Say the beya teacher for na sabi every day. Yes, you can nurses for yes you can so that you see, and then the for and the, people who really need this thing, we can put in a lot of resources into the primary, secondary levels. But at the moment, you go to some of our primary schools, Omupon and Poncha take you over. Omupon primary school na yapono na refor and punching and they take you over the classroom. But if we are able to make sure that we are private school, the school are called. Next, we school fees in senior high school fees. You know, school fees. Also, I will call private, kind of public school. A DBI will call, a school like that. We are passing also. You are going to a first class school, but the car crab before we fee. Now, I shall want that. Busumi be a 200 Ghana cedis as a child. Because we are taxing and paying for no mutumitria dollar no. So we say $3. Meboa. I don't try. So $3 for my school. I don't $3.
Me.
That's also.
That be okay. I mean, don't come who you grab and kai. $3. So that be mean so you see the policy we need to undergo, radical review to make sure say 20 years from today, we will be able to create a society where small boy na mame a tongue, you can say SSR rabbits to put together to get some small money. No, so how small boy no can be the education minister just like Educhum. But if we continue this way, Educhum, I like him. I have to be honest with you. He's calm, but I think that he's becoming too partisan. And it's not helping. He's calm. I like his demeanor and the way. But I just think that he's becoming a bit too pedestrian when it comes to saying some of his utterances, especially in this area. He seems to be doing his best, but I think that some of the things. I am happy he was taken to the education ministry. He was made the substantive minister of education, and my expectations are still very high of him. Me expect to say some of these things he should leave it to maybe party communicators because I have a lot of tremendous respect for, and his utterances with regards to these things wouldn't help us, and I wish that he will tone down and begin to accept the fact that we have a challenge, and if we have a challenge, it will not take only more politicians to fix it. There are others who are equally competent enough mentally, physically, financially, to help them. Those days, Mimiko school, Papa Mba PT, Mami Amba PT, and there was special levy out here. Say, Papa Nsu Babia, Utria be better nurse. Today, I think I'm so to PTA impu. There's no PTA. Those days PTA because a building way. Any AC. PTA this building, PTA and AC. PTA chairman be levy obia. So parent fees won't try any omra. You can't say. And we were paying, the schools were doing well. And so mine is that let's look at it and see how you bet to me a boy in school. So he's doing, I think Educhum is not doing bad. I have to be very honest and sincere. He's not doing bad with some of his things, but I think some of his utterances too pedestrian, if you ask me. Okay. Me da se na ye din ko me ni honorable Educhum din ko Ben. Asa ba ko kan ni se me say so onyi ni sanka ebetumi aye no kwan bi so say ye betumi amanka awofo afa sika no cost no part co-payment na abanso afa na o say awofo etua to awofo nyina ebre obi etua to ntese se ye ne se ye ne ya per cancellation review meaning cancellation and if you do ye boma ye nyina ye hwe ye no say no wadwen wo ehune de wo hin ene de also say betumi aye ne de aboa ama de na wi peyo na omamu ni nyina ebenya so mfaso
aja komna me da say I think that pay me bom modern ahwese betumi ahye menu panyini Kofi Asare any watch be a meet my shen and I kakra
okay
me ko sheni shoes mu
okay
me shows meet me ba me
you often with the
and I think that as a country we are getting a lot of things wrong. I don't know whether this you know and train and I say be a politics and say you doing you see in those days we had what we call centralized planning. In centralized planning no a buying and a share policy no na wakase say na me no na waye ne sa so but we've realized that centralized planning has never helped because sometimes it doesn't serve the needs of the people. Wo betima tena kra afa wadwen se bia bia kebi ana chebi epe toilet facility but that might not be the need, right? Inti neno alternative planning is very participatory and very democratic planning where there's inclusivity of ideas. So odibeye bibia ebeboa. Inti me no, I think that I support anybody who thinks that for us to get a better policy, say benya policy papa ebe serve na interest no, e wo so bibia eba na obeka ho na yehye sa policy no. That is very very participatory, right, in terms of development, finance and orientation. Inti say obi kase, and apart from being participatory no, review is part of policy. In Biana, in President Mahama, where no use to review, no, and a be tiasia by any policy must have monitoring aspect and must have evaluation aspect. Policy, yeah, you must monitor it before even implementation, and after implementation, you have to evaluate to assess the impact of this particular policy and whether new recommendations will be brought in the policy. In Tibia, President Mahama review no kind no, any problematic. I think he should change and say we want to evaluate the free SHS.
It's the same thing.
No. You see,
but you can say now we are literature review. No, I can say. No, I can say.
No. So
assessment.
No. So this an impact is something. Be an review. Ne be intiasie. Review no. Be an be intiasie. They say cancellation. So I think the appropriate.
There can be only 1 meaning. When it comes to review.
Oh, but people are saying that it means cancellation.
There can only be one meaning.
Evaluation may be the right word. We need to evaluate the policies to look at the challenges within it and then see whether their recommendations
but then the truth to be that he said a review and meant review. As by the videos we saw, Muhammad said review and he meant review.
Okay. I think review is also a good word. A good word. A good word, but say the problem by the NTS.
Review. But say to me, it's the meaning of review.
So I think that any policy biana ebe serve the interest of a people. Here evaluation periodically. Okay. Whether in your own short-term evaluation, mid-term, long-term, depending on how you schedule. We years now friend short-term, we years now friend mid-term, and also years of friend long-term. Here evaluation policy biya because one year sa even near masesa socio-economic indicators SSA socio-economic dimensions SSA bibia to misesa wa kra no timinya or financial and as of funding sources no quite misesa so one evaluate here will be failing so it's part of it inti say bia waka say evaluative researchers but now I think that or minor was say adwen ebru free research no so the whole education system or the sector no here review complete
right
the education sector the whole education sector
from scratch to the top
from scratch to down
you are right
from basic to up
complete
it needs a review okay but I'll not use the review it needs evaluation
don't let anybody intimidate you to begin to look for synonyms so I don't even know whether the synonym for review is you can say
offer some indicators in terms of quality education which is the focus of sustainable development goals you know in the 2015s now you pay MDGs Millennium Development Goals and the target of Millennium Development Goal in the education sector was to improve access to education. Yeah, more Bianco school. Ntina World Bank the focus on the F cube. Obianco at least.
Compulsory basic education.
But every 2015 Airbano, and was no. Say no. Obia yamo obiekobi. But obiekobi no, and yes, yamo obiankobi keke. You the quality aspect of it. So if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 4 talks about quality education. not access. And the quality of education has its own parameters and indicators. In Ghana, we are not meeting most of the standards. And this is compare yourself to the SDG standard. Are you meeting quality education?
Thank you.
It is all your minister and your whole standard now set you because your graduates are competing not only with Ghanaians but competing with other African countries and other countries across the world for certain international jobs. Will your people be able to meet those jobs?
Honorable Kansembi said, I think about a year ago, last year more baby in Kwada was in social more than power West Africa. No, so me and Ghana for me no woman. And see that is a mark of quality. A bit like I said, what to international said you can do. Is it not?
No, that's not quality. You see, exam score is determined by varying factors. You see, these days, okay, you free teachers now. Ama some problem be a created by an inquest. Ama some private schools are bedorsum.
Yes.
And private schools now SS. Private schools now
bedorsum. From is it from they give them a name.
Nkrano echo base public schools now. Because of so many free teachers, no more mobilizes cano. No more they are come private school no. Last minute. No, this cannot come up private school. Not private school, abuana manaka.
So they are just there to pass.
They are just into your monko school. They are just there to pass, and the private schools assist them to pass. And it's surprising me that the Minister of Education thinks that he doesn't know this, or they know. They say the eba ewo ye mai mu hane say. They say bia me ko Tamale Secondary. Obi o Tamale Secondary. Oko Tamale Secondary na first year free teachers. Fees no na oboano ne fees anka bia de be ma ne so nkotua no. Because of say fee ni bibia free nti oboano na ofo no boys kana no. Second year na ofo no boys kana no. Third year
no free ho.
No free Tamale Secondary. No akọ register or passing private school. And I say a different hope these days they are
no, they know the schools.
The Victory private school, Hope private school, Excellence private schools no club we name di. No. They are there. No akọ register school in their final year. The reason why they are there is to pass. You know, private school be assistant. And the private schools are more cronies at WAEC. And cronies at the circuit or district now more no invigilators no or more bribe binum. Omba mo nyehwe na better na private schools na mankra na twa.
It is there. No why can kasa.
Yes, it is there. Ntina me say na me try say me hye me nua panyini edu watch and am Kofi Asare. I cannot. But let me tell you why I think that the whole education system needs a review. Okay. Now one, this is an education system that based on UNESCO standard, we are below in terms of our budget allocation as part of our GDP to the education sector. UNESCO say, for us to get quality education, we need about 6% of our GDP, which in now a GDP almost 1 trillion. No? We need 6% of the GDP allocated to the education sector.
And we are UNESCO standard.
You allocated 3.8. And they say, who allocated 3.8% of your GDP to education? How do you compete with other countries or more allocated even over 6%? Because 6% is a minimum threshold. We need to review that. Who you free why? You say, you are friend access, an educator access, quality, and state of inclusivity of education. Ghana, your score is 76. The benchmark score is 90%. Like your score is 76%. But the benchmark, I also be a 90%.
And you're 76.
Yeah, 76. So what to honor so education minister? You should be worried.
But no some okay, I say na obi e near
me teacher people ratio. In other developed countries, 1 to 13, yeah, they 1 to 30. Oko be 1 to 45.
Some of you see a very worse because they say 10,000 echo.
Wow. So as education minister, then obey your found. These are critical things because if you want your pupils or students to be very competitive, possess quality education and not based on be exam score here track because exam score is just a macrocosm of the whole quality education. Ebinum kocha but what we no crocus on train di credit.
Na say na University of Ghana yi bebre edi.
Even tech.
Tech.
GPA. Just check. So above 1.
Tech, for example,
they couldn't get.
Tech, for example, University of Science and Technology. So, Kaso, you media, more human rights for because and then no, me wadi, but me repeat you, but repeating no, we be our office. Government will not subsidize. Into I don't know my new wadi, because me wadi, you get child rights, you get all the other ancillary civil societies think tanks. And Ukraino, you wadi. Me wadi, but ubeka wanemu obetua our office. That is what tech is doing now. Because unkrani etwaba, but mutwaba they cannot perform. Most of them cannot even write.
They can write their names.
Right. So, the whole education budget, all the budget at Common Ministry of Education, 90% of the budget allocated to education goes to compensation. 11% goes to goods and services. 0.1% goes to capital expenditure. 0.1 of the education budget goes to capital expenditure. No wonder most of them are sitting under trees to learn. No wonder we don't have textbooks at secondary schools. Now sometimes say, senior, Bona, you need textbooks. You need all these logistics, goods and services. You need all these learning materials. Infrastructure is poor at 0.1% allocation. Then still credit meter. It's very miraculous.
Yeah. But now why a press conference actually and say
it's very miraculous.
There were things that were done, and for me
it's very miraculous. Say Ukrainian infrastructure, no capital expenditure allocation, 0.1%. Learning materials are not going because goods and service allocation is 11%. Still Ukrainian. How are they passing? Is it that the teachers are doing extraordinary well? In our current system, teacher supply no low.
And no much channels, so mostly now, you will find them in certain schools.
Now in terms of equitable, now senior equitable education. What do you say, Kruma? We are here near which falls within the poorest quintile in terms of distribution of income. We are here near only 27% of our here for in a school. Yes. About 76% of our scafoma in school. So what is the equity in terms of education in Ghana? So we minister now to now because a review now only in Yadrian. The whole education sector needs a review. From crèche to university, it needs a review. Now at the back who me observe these days at the university. Sometimes maybe go school, there be almost come by me no Yadrian. Degree there, course I'll be a degree. Now what it's not true.
It's not true.
That's what they put in the minds of most of education sector or university. Or it doesn't matter the course you do, or it doesn't matter the program you do. And then you can do any job. It's not true.
It matters.
It matters a lot. As for my Minister of Education, I had to wait, whereby the UN or the World Bank has issued a report as far back 2019 that human capital index by 80 years from now, our productivity, education, productivity, and I say human resource, the productivity will decline by about 56%.
Ghana.
Ghana. 18 years from now, the new generation that may come from 2019, the human capital index will reduce by about 56%. And you think we don't need a review? Or we don't need evaluation of the education sector?
Master, and that's obey see down Ghana ha. So Ghana for more my POP. Aya Thailand. Togo for
and send it to Atakpame.
So it should be a worry to the Ministry of Education. Say, SS because you cannot allocate almost 90% to compensation while infrastructure or capital expenditure is 0.1. On my DNA, they cannot say there's a benchmark of about 6% of GDP to education and you allocate 3.8. They cannot say a whole budget. President Namu in 2019, August 2019, Obe allocated 23% of our budget to education. They want my 16%. Mostly they are below 16% of our budget to education. And you think we don't need a review? How do we make our students very competitive? How do we make our students emotionally intelligent and not just scoring and passing exams? Because education goes beyond, maybe I say education is a change behavior, it's a learning thing, right? And it should be very classical. Classical means that it should be part obi a wako school bi and it say school no a part of him. And yet say operant. Operant means maybe you want to pass your exam.
The school should go through you.
Through you.
Not you going through the school. The school should go through you.
Have a value system that depicts a Ghanaian student from any other student. But ye nibi. Oko universities as I say crowd here when say and I also say be a senior, maybe more researchers know his excellency. We can even assess the impact of tertiary education on corruption or the corruption in tertiary education. Your corruption within the middle class ni adwuma dodo na is because of tertiary education.
Exactly.
Most of the private hostels are paying 5,000 plus. Teacher ni work at you saying.
You say 5,000.
Your friend is saying civil servant work at you saying.
Oh, you say 5,000. I won't mention.
Okay, so maybe some are paying more than that.
I won't even mention.
Depending who they open the papa kasi
yes. What do you mean for
the bachelor one?
5,000. 5,000 civil servant work at you saying. Oh, mommy, you know, University of Ghana. Or my traditional hall. I'll be over to 1,500. Because why am I into what they call private hostel?
Exactly.
5,000, you know, 10,000. 10,000 or for free, na kati ya sembo some. Because of say onya 10,000, it was so in sabo sikabimu. And that's all you bibi. It was in the office. And so no tima kutuya ni fees. This yet now when I hear some of these analysis, most of the corruption we find
exactly
is because of the expenditure of education in Ghana. Now what you wanna see, we don't need a review means cancellation. Then I don't see why you are the minister. To be frank with you, I respect him a lot. But yen kano kreno, senior no krene da. The education system, and yet the whole sector, I say, the whole sector needs evaluation. Even here, there's this report I'm reading that as of 2020, school dropout at upper level of education is about 610,000 in a Jai school, upper secondary school. 610,000 a Jai school drop out. When Jai schools were, most of them today are into drug abuse.
Oh yeah.
Most of them.
And some of the girls are into one friend BB. So who BB sir?
Who cares? Who cares? And hook up and
you know.
What future are we building for ourselves? We don't need a review. And that is why I think that beyond free SH is quite here review, no. The education sector needs a participatory approach.
Okay. Yes.
Obia edu watch emetna ha. Ya any medication once a minute. Mamon free but mon free edu watch. Mon free senior because security also has implications on education.
Course, yes.
Mon free senior, mon free his excellency. Mon free ajakobna ye metna ho. 20 years from now, what education be na ye pedi ama ye ma. Say na pese hu ye we are seeing now. What should we be known for? India is known for technology. You think they just sat down and then they got ICT everywhere? Any technology firm across the world, Indian.
Oh yes.
The best ones, Microsoft, Google, Indian.
Who call UK call centers no? Ofre bank no na obi correspond to India.
Yes. So in 20 years from now, as a Minister of Education, what do we want Ghana to be known for?
Send now we STEM school projects, STEM projects.
No, it's all good, but how did we get there?
To me, Abuama, near maybe said the okay, no. Maybe almost to me, and I say almost to me replicate across the country. A Bebuama, the say, maybe I say you will be known for particular something, say technology, no. A be multi, say a share safe baby, the Disuka crack to media.
So STEM, for example, which is a good thing, will be a yebi. But STEM, yeah, by 20 years from now, DNA, PC, what is it? Automobiles? For example, the Germans, they are known for automobile. Indians are known for ICT. Others are known for something. Yes, STEM na but 20 years from now, what do we want to be known for? Yeah, target the day.
And I know now education minister
and you see, some of us who were in secondary school, we even knew some schools who academically were not good, but we know more contact like schools and colleges, sports. You know that this school is a sports school, and on the defense, sir. On the defense, sir. And they used to produce some of our sprinters, athletes This way, you will find them. You will find
Cape Coast.
You will find them today. Do you know any school in Ghana? I'll bet me say school with here. Today, they do mass production of sportsmen in Ghana.
Now, sports no yeah school company.
And I put the catcher and say, you show me one school.
So education.
Show me one school.
Education system. Emma, half of youth into me exhibiting one talent in sports needs a review. You know, as I was sitting there listening to this technical submission, look, I'm finding the media because I'm a politician, even though I'm very educated. But sometimes we don't need everybody talking about anything. You need people with common sense. I was in India. Edna, Prime Minister Modi, your friend, came and announced, say, as from next year, India will be known as a technical hub and not a country of snake charmers. India will be known as a technical hub, but not as a nation of snake charmers. Many people didn't understand. Because you have been there. At every corner of India, there were these snake charmers. Within 2 weeks, now they had arrested all the snake charmers.
They round up in that app.
Killed all the cobras. And put these snake charmers to farms. And now, Mumbai. All of a sudden, Modi started building big buildings. Some buildings, Google, they were to be given to international technical, IT firms, free of charge for 10 years. And that is why today you see the ICT everywhere is India. On mine, for politics.
It was intentional.
Very
purposeful. That is leadership.
Today, Uko hospital biya wo Europa. One IT system no radiography na idea no. We Indians. And I didn't say we had then ignored agriculture. You see, your friend Educhum had done so well. Whether he understands from what my brother I think he needs to himself sit down and review.
Yes, he needs to do a soul searching of himself. Yes, he needs to.
You see, he needs to sit and review himself.
He's done well, but
maybe
unfortunately, I think
ambition to become the flag bearer, running mate, is taking the better part of him, because many people have built their political career by insulting Mahama. But Educhum, idea abronye bayano. Oh yeah, emphasize.
Medasi.
My final word. 2016, MPP won on free SHS. So do an analysis of how Akufo-Addo has implemented the free senior high school. By forced implementation, nobody should stand in the way of the free SHS. In the end, he said he has produced Akufo-Addo graduates. Not so. And the Nabi said he knows, he said, one man enjoy free SHS no. He said they have become of the voting age. So the free SHS, which was intended like Modi to promote the country's development, was then used to harvest vote.
I know the understanding of His Excellency Sampi.
No, I've given you don't say that, but I've given you the reasons.
Since here or can't I no, but then no or no tears or no so dear afa the church more dear amanono. And Senabidi can Bribia said this media and I say ya yenya anamsifo a free among you who do nina when it through a major political party stand this in the MPP. Nti ene se mu hu MPP ni wo ha emfiri yen se ebia ye ne ye odi pese omo de ne ba no and ebia omama na ma na say ebia ono ankasa nso amade a edi enim nti na konwa wa ha ebiba bebia no sakasi mampa yebema na kwan na fe enkomo yedie no ya no so atumi a kire na adwene ewo ho afi yehwe asemba ko a ewo ho na yehwe se yebetumi akọ ahoma no se bia enche na yene committee a yesete yese yehwe Inspector General of Police ni semi ene ho samsam ensem bi pay abonten say most of the newspapers are buy publications buy later part of this week na ni nyina afa say committee report na early kino say the IGP has been exonerated san omokai almost all the newspapers eka ho asem sa but e could do baby no and e could pie mu say chairman of the committee eyononya for attach say san report na ba abonte no enye conclusive neche say enwie peyo sa report corona so no ebeto dwa say was it one sign na the clerk of the committee no also assign is that the standard the sign committee bia na say committee bia na adwuma wi a chairman no and the clerk no na assign and now say members of the committee no number of them be and be sign kire say committee na agi atomu ana. 2 some of the committee members also kire say committee no report na ba bonten no are authentic said the tie no sapepepe and atie so which is which.
Sayo
dog asemi ba ye no tena fie di hu komo kakra e ma ye hu se committee na dwuma de nyina ye ka ho asem ama ye bedu bibia do afei ye nyina nim se committee e na be wi asem no kora na ye nya asem no pomasi bere preko pekora afei all of a sudden there has been this twist my say committee no report no kora no they say doubt be e ya ba ho say chairman no de o kanko and after some of the committee members also more kanko me ma obesi ma be edu na me tie wadwen kire ene dia won so betu akafa sa committee nsem ni nsem a APP ho.
Okay, the American main starts in free on terms of reference. On terms of reference, number 1 to sustain the veracity or otherwise of the leaked tape. To investigate the conspiracy to remove the current Inspector General of Police. Number 3, to investigate any other matter contained in the radio recording. And then the audio recording. And then 4, to recommend sanctions to persons found culpable where appropriate. Make recommendations for reforms where necessary. To make other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee may deem appropriate. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, terms of reference at the moment is so basic. You know, terms of reference are it was given to them first of all, and so Bugri na Abubai, and now Ombisa and say, and you be a tape no, what ye be, and I say, authentic, and I say yes, and so number 1, tick. Any afraid or more, Sabi or more kosher in future baby, ekekandi or mukayeno, almost buy and almost oh yes. I mean, yes, even though we have some of the things, eventually they admitted in wholesale, everything contained in the tape is legitimate. Eventually, the committee has been, sittings, monitor. Fortunately, televised. Televised means that, to see how you can say, amam for be a shayen. We are saying fanning in a Ghana for United Peso Mushebi, more recording, putting pieces together. So see, I can report no. Say report in the beba, say report in the mba. Yo ena, semwa sem trefu. Mufifi, mwana mode beto ho bang. Say report na abo. Na dia e kire madwen ni say wo hwe era attaching any nsemo a the way even with the sitting say there now or handle. Me, I have chaired other committees, and I still chair committees. When a committee chairman, who know be out? And yes, be a who sabi who on yen sanchen, who come in meeting. I'm part of a panel. Does not make me so special than you can say those sitting here because maybe we are now going to discuss security. To me, for some men are media. No, there's a reason why everybody is here, and there's a reason why you committee members and so Mumra to form the committee. But you will see him as the chairman and the spokesperson for the committee. Oh, you heard him. He will come and say something, and some of the committee members will come and say, and we will do this, we will do that, we will do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a committee chairman, you build consensus building. You know why? Because you see, you have or more, Sabi, a cuckoo them for you have James Agaga, who is a very senior lawyer. Oh, yeah, Wabinyi, very, very educated. You have Tuobu, who Honorable Tuobu, who is an ex-senior police officer. You have the lady who is a deputy, let me say, defense and interior. Onasebi Nikunu, I've forgotten of her name. She is also part of the committee. There is, I think, one Eric, another lawyer. They are about 6 of them together with the technique. But you see him almost like a sole commissioner. Also, sole commissioner, no, you are not answerable to anybody apart from the panel or appointee. But as a chairman of the committee, where you say bibi ena ebia abeto bedwemu. You don't run to the media. Even if the media calls you, you should be the last person so bekasa. But before who share almost sitting and before almost sitting and kasa no granted interviews bebree. Undermining on one committee. You don't do that. You sit with your colleagues. If you are 6 or 7, you are the chairman. You listen to everybody. You make notes. Now say idea way there is way colorless. Where so you say so now we say no. You say no. You put it to vote. The reason why you put disagreement to vote, and they say if majority carries the day. Now say who chairman now say someone appointed by you say on kasa to the media and that's kasa. You say, well, when the issue came up, this is how we agreed by voting. But you see him talking to little PB. Oh, you can't say correct. You say fake. You say some of us who monitor you can't say the what's the name of it? The proceedings in Parliament, almost sittings now, which was in the public gallery. I monitor from home, made commentary. You can see Bugri Nabu who read it, report, who share the question. Bugri Nabu, this tape, can you say it is you, is valid? Yes. Can you say this? Then COP Alex Mensah, can you say this? Yes or no? So everything per what we have seen is captured there. And as this committee reports, anyone who is aware of how, if you've chaired committees or you've been part of committees, you take the questions and answers from the people and develop your reports. You don't import facts. Me, I've chaired committees and I still chair committees. And I'm telling you, you don't import facts. It's a fact finding. You take you put them into the right context and perspective. That's what you are supposed to do. And when you look at what we have seen out there, this is, they're kind of saying, the way this whole thing went. And so I asked myself, the moment you begin to say it is fake, it means that one can say most settings now, a fake. You have indicted your own sitting. I don't know, you get what I'm trying to say. Because it's verbatim. Questions and answers, question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, question 5. And we all have the videos there. The thing has been produced. As to who produced it, I don't know. I have no clue who produced it. Mine is that I see whatever that has been reproduced in terms of transcribed to be authentic. Or say a fake. So some of us were wondering, the moment you say it is fake, is it fake because it hasn't been signed? And your short report and leaky. Is it the first report to leak? in terms of even government appointments. Sometimes things that go on in cabinet, and then you know what is going on. What did I make an say? And you know bit me about the be careful how you poo it and how you undermine it, because it could come back.
But he being the chairman of the committee, and who say committee report to be about Bontin, report to buy or no on the chairman of the committee. Well, who say committee no reports dear when who na ba Bontin or can kind who say be a sin to be uma. So but you are chairman for you need to say a faker. You see, you have been what you are saying. You see, fake means fake. He didn't say some of the things in there represent what took place. Because the reason why Americans are say is different if everything there is contrary to what happened. We see a fake. Meanwhile, we can see commentary. We can see Bugri Nabu. We can see the witnesses who appeared. We can see the IGP. We can see everything and whatever that took place. How do you come and say it is fake and you try to, you can say, justify it? So mine is that some of us, if you ask me, if I am chairing such a committee, the moment the report came out, you call an emergency meeting of WONE or members. You sit with them, hey, say about how do we go about it? How do we go about it? Then members no sabi, they are sensible. All the members are very hurry, you sit with them. Adewe, how do we respond to, you go through it first with them. Adewe Abe, how do we respond? No one can say, hey, Adewe, maybe I am Miano. I don't know if you get Miano. So that you see, even when they call us, let's just say we cannot comment on that. Then you comment, and later you are going to have your hands bent, put in fire. Or by or say papa, say. I'm sure that maybe your name members, because if you had met them, his vice chairman and some members of the committee would not have come to say the findings and the recommendations are consistent with their work. Have you heard Atachan talk again? Opa friend, so what a number, friend. Here's our answer. So you see, yes, the media is there. The media can